come your way once again. We have studied something about copywriting in the last lesson, if you remember, and it was all about how to start the entire copywriting process. We looked at the research, we looked at the qualities and features of the product, and then we analyzed the target audience. This time around, I'm coming to you with another thing, and it is known as elements for copywriting or format for copywriting. Every advert you see, especially a print advert like a billboard or a magazine advert, normally would have 5 main elements in it. And I want to introduce you to these elements. I have a few demonstrations to do, but before then, let me describe to you what each element is actually about. In every advert, like I said earlier, there's a format you have to follow in order to be able to present your message. You would bear me out that when we were in secondary school, we used to write letters to our friends. And we wrote those letters even in the most informal ways. But if you want to write a letter for employment, you have to follow quite a regimental or a straitjacket format, which says that you need to actually introduce a letter with the address of the recipient, your address, the date, and then the salutation, the topic, and then you come to the introduction and then the main body, and then you sign off. By this format, you'll be able to write a letter. In the same way, advertising follows a particular way of presenting your message. And that way of presenting your message is supposed to be a step-by-step, procedural, and an orderly manner. We cannot do this except we are guided by these 5 elements in the format. And I want to present the format to you. Now, you have to begin by expressing your message in the headline. And your headline is supposed to bear the unique selling proposition of your product or your service. Now, that headline should be the single bold statement that you want to put out there to create awareness or to encourage your audience to change a perception or an idea, to change their behavior and their attitude. Now, besides that, you can also introduce the second element, which is the subheading. The subheading should actually complement what the headline is saying, because the headline cannot say everything. So what you need to do is to add to the headline by introducing a subheading. Now, the subhead can be placed above the headline or below the headline, but the subhead is not a compulsory thing for you to do. You can actually do your advert without the subheading. Now, the third element, which I want to introduce to you, is the illustration or the picture, the photo, that cartoon, that animation, that beautiful picture that you want to put in the advert to actually send your message across using that visual element. Remember that pictures also speak 1,000 words and sometimes can communicate better than text. So your picture that you use should be very, very clear. And that's why advertising will normally make use of glamorous looking people, beautiful people, and it's almost like if you're not handsome or beautiful, you cannot even appear in an advert. And I believe that some of my students worry about that, but don't get worried. Sometimes a good photographer and a director of photography who is excellent can actually turn your picture into something good, and it can be used for advertising. Now, the fourth element that you need in the copywriting format is the body text. The body text has another name. It is also called the body copy. Now, the body copy plays a key function, and the function is a very simple one. You have to ensure that your body copy is informing your audience and giving them more details about the product so that it will help them to be able to make a decision as to whether to buy the product or not to buy it, or at least to try the product, because the body copy presented a very, very nice, exciting, and put the audience in an expectant mood. So the body copy can clinch the sale for you if you write it very well. Now, the whole idea of copywriting is about writing your message and writing it beautifully in order to be able to persuade your audience and attract them into your advert and help them to make a decision. So never joke with your body copy, and always ensure that you are doing the advert with a body copy. The final element is the signature. The signature captures all the things concerning the concerning the corporate identity elements of the company or the business. So things related to the color scheme of the company, the logo, the address, website, and all of those things are important things you need to list in your advert so that the consumer can reach you as an advertiser or a company who is presenting the message and the product to them. If you don't give your audience any outlet for them to be able to reach you or contact you, then you might as well not advertise. So it is important that you look at the signature and bring all other mandatory elements like symbols, trademarks, logos, award winning symbols or plaques or things like that. And all of those things, of course, will be a very good thing for your audience to learn about you and be able to reach you. So, in this segment, I want to end by saying that copywriting and the format for copywriting is important and we need to learn about it. Well, I told you that I'll do an example for you to see, and I want us to do a quick identification test. By this exercise or this test, we will learn the 5 elements for copywriting. The first element, as I mentioned, is the headline. And I want to point out to you the headline. That is what you see at the top, which says pap smear test. And then immediately under that, you have reduces the risk of cervical cancer. That is the subheading. And you need to note it as a subhead because it complements what the headline is saying. Then you come to the main illustration, which is right here in the middle, as the main picture, which is communicating the issue. Now, beside the picture, you have what we call the body text to the left-hand side, and it is neatly arranged so that it will give you the message and extra information about the product. To my right-hand side, and to the left-hand side of your screen, you can see other elements which are adding to what the body copy is saying. So that is the 4th element in the copywriting process. Down here, you have all the logos and the contact details of the sponsors or the advertisers who have brought this together and is bringing a message to you. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the 5 elements for copywriting. And I believe that by this identification test, you have learned something good. I would like to drop this and say or end by saying that it is important that we learn these things in advertising. The whole idea of copywriting is to be able to put words and text, pictures, visuals, symbols, and all of those things together in a way that will be able to promote the product or the service and be able to persuade the audience to make a decision. So anytime you have to do your advert, please remember these 5 points and apply them in your production process. Thank you very much. We'll come your way again another time and we will learn another topic in advertising.